Welcome to Sustainable Sailing.
October half-week term was solid gales and rain, so we spent it on the boat and were able to do some jobs but very little outside. Just to give you a sample, this is what the Menai Strait sounded like. Here you can see the bow roller as we left it last time, dry fitted, except that it had glued to the thickened epoxy as we fitted that plate underneath it. And here you can see that plate. All we need to do here now is put fairing filler to smooth all around the edges and put little round plates for the 2 feet for the bow pulpit, and then we're going to paint it with deck paint to protect from UV. This is me drilling out 3 holes in the bow. They have captive nuts, but in behind them had got filled with thickened epoxy. So we drilled them out and then fitted brand new bolts. They're a bit hard to get because they're 5/16 imperial size, but they fitted fine. Here you can see those bolts in position and where there's still a bit of damage to be filled before we fit the bow pulpit finally. And this is what it looks with the pulpit in position. As you can see, the 4 feet will all have little pads underneath them to raise them up so that they are clear of the deck and water doesn't dribble in. Here we are emptying the chain out of the van, ready to put onto deck. It always involves a bit of a chat with friends. And here I'm pulling the chain onto the deck. It's now stored in the fore cabin, approximately where our new bow locker will be. 80 metres of chain takes up quite a bit of space. And now you can see the anchor hauled up by hand into its final position. So that's a 30 kilogram Spade anchor, and we will fit a little spacer V to hold it in position and fitted to that plate coming down the bow. And just to prove that the bow roller works, here's me lowering the anchor down just by hand and using a rope rather than the chain. Having the roller in that new position just keeps the anchor far enough away so it shouldn't hit the bow. There's no way we can lift the anchor onto the deck from the bow roller, so we took it apart and carried it up.
There's always something going on in the boatyard. Here's Stan bringing out one of the club members' boats. 2 of them were brought out that day just in time before the storm came in the evening. It brought 50-mile-an-hour winds. With the weather being so bad, we spent a lot of time doing indoor jobs. Here I am practicing the splicing for our chain plates. While I was doing that, Dave was getting on with removing plywood from over the chart table. It had been up there for 40 years and it looks as though it suffered from the damp rather. This is my second attempt. I was trying several different tools to see which ones work best for me. Here I am tapering the splice, which is very important with Dyneema as it's very weak if it has to make a sharp bend. Here's my first attempt. As you can see, there's a bit of a shaggy tail hanging out of that one, so I wasn't entirely happy with it, but I worked out the dimensions to make it better for this second attempt. I was happy with that. Now I've just got another 20 or so to do.
Here you can see the water damage that has been caused on the chart table, and this is the soffit board that we took off from above the chart table, showing how much water damage there has been. You can now see the pile of stuff that we removed from the chart table. The next job was to remove the remaining soffit above the galley. We had left this after removing all the cupboards and the boxing in around the steering that you can see on the left of the screen. But what we have realised is that above these soffits are the bolts for the Genoa track and some bolts for stanchions, and it turns out that all of these have been leaking at least a little bit. So this soffit needs to come out so that we can access those bolts in order to fix the leaks. We are going to be doing quite a dramatic fix for these leaks, so watch out for future videos as we get rid of bolt holes in our side decks to avoid future leaks. We hope it won't be too long before we get back to rebuilding rather than demolishing, but This holiday did include a lot of demolition, and the next bit of demolition is a very fast time lapse of demolishing the side of our saloon, removing the cupboards and the soffit. Here you can see one real oddity where the chain plate bolt at the forward end of the saloon on the port side has had fiberglass covering the bolt and the nut. It's the only one like that, and we have no idea why it is different to all the others. Anyway, it's coming out. Here you can see water damage from a leaking window, which means that the soffit board as well as that trim is damaged and going rotten. This is where we got to after that first set of destruction. Soffit removed, all the cupboards removed, but the seat back still there and a couple of shelves covered in vinyl. After a night thinking about it, we decided that we were going to go far more radical, and so we removed that seat back and those shelves, and our plans for the saloon have changed quite a lot. The drawings for this boat, the Rival 38 Centre Cockpit, have two variations for this area of the saloon. We've got the one with the smaller galley, so it's an L-shaped galley behind that half bulkhead you can see in the background. The other version moves that bulkhead further forward to where the first join in the cushions is. We're going to now create a hybrid version, so we will install a bulkhead where that join in the cushions is, but it will not go all the way down to the cushions, so it will be at worktop height with a footbox underneath it. That means when you're in the galley you get a full U-shaped galley with a worktop wrapping right the way around, with that bulkhead you can see there cut back a little bit. Then the next bulkhead will have an opening to the cabin, so it will be the backstop to the worktop. The seating area will be significantly smaller as just an L shape, but the footbox will remain so that we can still have a guest double bed in that area. Your feet will go underneath the galley worktop when you sleep there. As we do that, we're also going to make the seat facing inwards rather more comfortable. The back was almost vertical and the seat squab was too short, so we're going to make a few adjustments there. Our first priority though is the chain plate, backing plates, removing the bolt holes from 3 cleats in that area as well as a couple of stanchions, and then adding the structure to tie those properly to the hull. Once we've done that, we can then start building the rest of the furniture to make our saloon a very much more pleasant place. So that's what we were doing in our half-term break. We'll have more updates soon.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed it, give us a thumbs up.